Yo, what is going on, Beast? It's your boy FaZe here, and today we are going to be going over all of my settings on Call of Duty Vanguard, the best sniper settings, and honestly, just the best settings in general for this game. Obviously, take it with a grain of salt and use what is best for you, but I'm going to go over exactly what I use in this game because there's a good amount of settings in here that you may have missed over, that you might have skipped over, so I'm going to try and help you guys out with that today. First things first, I'm going to go over my controller settings. I play on a default PlayStation 5 controller. I don't have any scuff. I don't have control freaks or anything. I just play default on a regular PS5. Now, I'm rocking 1412 sensitivity. This feels best for me. It's a little bit over very high, but it's not as crazy as going all the way up to 20. It feels best for me. I used to play on 8 sensitivity when the sensitivity used to go all the way up to 10. All these ADS sensitivity multipliers I haven't really touched. I just keep that normal. I really don't want to mess with any of that. Default everything when it comes to my layout. I don't really use tactical or anything like that. It's just default everything. Now, coming into one of the first most important settings that I use is the aim response curve type. I use dynamic response curve type. It reverse S-curve mapping for fine aim rate control. I'm going to be honest, I don't know what the John that means. When I put this on back in Black Ops Cold War and in Modern Warfare, it felt that my controller was a little bit more responsive whenever I was looking around up and down, left and right, all over the place. Standard and linear, they felt like it was almost, I had a little bit of a delay. Again, that may have just been for me, but dynamic feels really, really smooth. It feels really responsive, and I love using dynamic. Obviously, controller vibration on. Shout out to my vibration gang out there. We're a dying breed, but hey. We're there. Up next is weapon fire threshold. This is another underrated setting that you may have skipped through. You want this off. The fire button will react the same regardless of the weapons used. So again, this is kind of like a cool little campaign feature. I guess you would want this in campaign because it would make, you know, it's a little bit of an immersive effect. But for multiplayer and for competitive FPS, you want this off. No matter what gun you pick up, no matter what gun you use, the triggers will feel the same. And it'll feel normal throughout all the guns you use. Getting into the advanced controls, the ADS sensitivity transition timing, I have mine on instant. Stick layout preset, I'm rocking default. Controller orientation up, ADS stick swap is off, and into, in my opinion, the most important setting on controller. If you are on controller, the Deadzone is probably the most important setting to make your game feel smooth and responsive. And last year in Cold War and the year before that on Modern Warfare, I talked a lot about Deadzone and how important it was. But again, on Vanguard, I'm gonna stress it. It is super important. Now, the higher you put this Deadzone, the less responsive your game will feel. This is made for controllers that have stick drift, so if your controller has a lot of stick drift, you want to turn this up because it'll help against that. If your controller doesn't have stick drift, which means it's pretty much a normal controller that hasn't been worn out yet, you want to keep this at a lower Deadzone. You don't want to keep it really low because then it's going to be super responsive and your aim is kind of going to be all over the place. So I keep mine at a solid 6. It's right in the middle. It's perfect for me. The lower you put this, the more responsive your game will feel when you're looking up, down, left, and right. It is super important. For some reason, these newer CODs, they put it as like a 30 on default. So if you're feeling a little bit heavy, if your game feels heavy when you're running around and looking around, this might be why. So definitely make sure to check your Deadzone setting. Over into the gameplay section, target aim assist you want on. I am using precision aim assist. You can mess around with these aim assists. There's a good amount of them. There's default, focusing, in Black Ops. I like precision. I've been running precision on Cold War last year and it felt pretty good. So dynamic response curve plus the precision aim assist is a deadly duo. ADS aim assist, obviously you got on. The ADS plus melee weapon mount. Automatic airborne mantle is off. You want this off. Automatic sprint is off. Now this is pretty important for snipers in my opinion because it takes longer for your gun to ADS if you are double sprinting, aka tack sprinting. So I keep this off. I want to play normally. If you're just regularly sprinting and then ADS, your gun will go up quicker than if you're double sprinting. So I keep my automatic sprint off. It's different for Warzone, but for regular multiplayer, I like to keep this off. Sprint cancels reload. I keep that on. Slide behavior, you want tap with controller because it's easier to slide. These obviously kind of speak for themselves. Aim down sight behaviors, hold. Equipment behaviors, hold. Steady aim, all this stuff. Now, onto my graphic settings. Again, I play on PC, so console settings may be a little bit different. So for PC, this is what I'm rocking right here. I'm just going to kind of scroll through this. and you guys can copy it if you want. I keep all my textures and pretty much everything on low. I just try to have the most frames possible because that'll increase frames. Frames win games, literally. Frames win games. So I keep all my settings pretty much on low. You guys can copy this right here. All these settings pretty much speak for themselves. But this one right here is super important. It's the Fidelity FX Cast. You might have seen a couple people talking about this on Vanguard, but this makes your game insanely sharp. I'm going to give you examples of how it looks off, and I'm going to give you an example of how it looks on. I'm going to put it on the screen right now, but this is super important. When you have this on and the strength at 80, your game looks really sharp. It like messes with the sharpness a little bit, and it makes the quality look a lot better, so I highly recommend turning this on. It gives you, I don't know necessarily if it gives you an FPS boost, but all I know is that it makes the game look really nice. So try this out for yourself if you don't have it. My anti-aliasing is on T2X, depth of field is off, VRAM usage target is on 85%. Over into the gameplay section, I'm on 110 FOV with independent ADS field of view. For sniping, I feel independent is better than affected. You can try it out for yourself. Independent is the way to go though. Camera movement, this speaks for itself. Who even likes when your screen is shaking all over the place? I want to keep this as minimum as possible, so I keep mine on least 50%. Motion blur, if you have this on, you're an actual demon. End of story for that. And then the NVIDIA Reflex low latency, you want this on plus boost. For my audio section, this kind of speaks for itself. It's going to be different for you guys as well. I'm using headphones. I'm using the hit marker, the classic hit marker sound effect. I like that as well. I like them both, but I'm going with the classic right now. And then these obviously just speak for themselves right here. When it comes to the interface, everything is pretty much the same on this. There isn't really much I've changed. I like to have my FPS shown, I like to have my server latency shown, and I like to have my packet loss shown. Everything else, I pretty much keep it on hidden. So yeah guys, that is pretty much it for all of my settings on Vanguard. Again, you guys can take it with a grain of salt, use what feels best for you, but in my opinion, these are the best settings for sniping, and just for, honestly, gaming in general on Vanguard. These settings are pretty solid. Make sure to drop a like if you guys found anything useful, and if I missed anything, drop a comment down below. I'll go over it in the comment section, or I'll go over it in any future videos. Love you guys, man. Deuces.
Oh my God.